Okay, if we're all ready to go here, welcome everybody here in Prestonwood Country Club, and also everybody out on Zoom. We're glad you're here. I hope you can hear us okay. Give me a high sign there. Kirsten, is it coming through okay? Randy, good to see y'all.
Got a little static there, Jan.
Billy, I want to personally welcome all of you to the March Success North Dallas meeting here at the clubs of Prestonwood Creek, and also want to welcome everybody on Zoom. Happy St. Patrick's Day as well. This is a great day. We're all glad to see you here, and hopefully we're going to start building our crowd up nicely. First of all, I want to make sure everybody on Zoom that you guys are on mute. We've muted everybody. I think, Kirsten, if you've not, mute everybody, please. And if you're using live video of yourself, make sure that you are stationary and aren't running around with your phone, letting us see everything you're doing and things we don't want to see. If you have any comments to make, use the chat function. And if you wish to send a general message to everybody or just someone else there, you can do that on chat. And at the conclusion of the meeting, we'll be taking questions using chat and get everybody going there. So please feel free to use that, and we'll bring you into it. For those of you here in person, we ask that you practice social distancing, wear your mask when appropriate, and be respectful to others. Also, be sure to stick around after the meeting because we'll have about 20 minutes here that we can get together. They'll be closing down that side of the room, so we'll have to stay over here. And anyway, I think that's good. So let's get the meeting going.
For the past 30 years, on the third Wednesday of every month, Success North Dallas has had the best of the best in speakers. These speakers come not to be paid, but because of the people in the room. The people who have founded 98 companies, created over 1,000 jobs, and 7 Ernst & Young Entrepreneurs of the Year.
And now, live from the clubs of Prestonwood, please welcome my SND business partner and the little brother I never had, founder and CEO, Mr. Bill Ellis.
Thank you, big brother. Sometimes we get caught by people saying something that we have no idea they're going to say. And Jan seems to do that well, but welcome. 1 year ago, we canceled the March meeting, the first time in 32 years that we canceled or even delayed a meeting. And that would have been our 26th anniversary meeting at Prestonwood Country Club. And that would have also been the 20th anniversary of presenting the Prestonwood Employee of the Year. We'll be doing that in June. And also in June, we'll be presenting the Dallas Police Department Officer of the Year and several Officer of the Months. So we're going to play some catch up this year. But last year was a year of changes. I hate the word pivots. And so I'm going to substitute pivots for opportunities. It was truly a year of opportunities. And I've heard some great success stories out of last year. We had about 80, and I see the weather has done us in. We're going through Jeff Crilly's company and broadcasting. We're going on the internet through Zoom. So I have no idea how many people are out there, but I think there's probably a couple of hundred. So welcome to you, foreigners. And I look forward to every one of you coming back to this room as soon as you're comfortable to do it. So an opening, you know, when we look at our logo, when we think about what is success, success is what we all aspire to. How do we do it? It's the interconnecting C's, connecting the right people for the right reasons at the right time. And that is what has made Success North Dallas. Albert Einstein once said, "A life lived for others is the only life worth living." And that totally describes the people in this room. And I see somebody from EarthX. I mean, we have Dallas Vice here, so be nice. Just want you to be nice. Because we do have gun-toting guys and gals in the room. But this is Texas, so what can I say? But anyway, welcome each and every one of this. I'm so excited about this meeting. Now, what is Success North Dallas? Well, the qualifications for membership define it. Be a success in your own eyes. I have no right to define what success is for you. That's your thing. Honor your commitments. Let's go back to the handshake and be a giver. It's all about our fellow men and women. That's what we're about. That's who we are. And that's why we're here. So a special thanks to all of you all out there and here. If you're not on our mailing list, please sign up for our emails. Check out our new website. We built a new website last year. We changed our marketing last year. And thanks to RP1, this website has gotten accolades from all over. So check that out while you're at it. And I want to thank the team. And some people say, well, why do you go through? Well, it's so very important to me because I can't do this by myself. Jan Claudner, he's been with me. He's running Zoom over here. Of the 32 years, he's been with me 31 of those. And he is my big and very much older brother, I have to say, very much older.
Thank you,
But
Bill.
You're so welcome. Casey Haston, Casey's been out front. Wave, stand up. She's out there helping out, getting us in. Luke Hollingsworth. Luke, where are you? Back there? He's out there helping out. That's our bouncer, by the way, so be nice to him too. He's the one taking your temperature and saying if you can come in or not. I want to, Lucinda Ruck, she's at home. Tammy Barrier. Tammy, wave. She does our special events. She's been a friend of mine for so many years and always been there with the attitude. And this is the same attitude I say hear from everybody. Not what do you want? What can I do? How can I help? And that's what you're going to find from almost everybody in this room. Misty Hoyt, Misty, take a picture. Misty back there, our photographer. And I get to look at this bunny. I got this in the email a couple of days ago, but on Good Friday, she's at Overland Trails doing bunny photos. She's at Legacy West in Plano as well. And if you want some great, great pictures, oh my God, she's done so much for us over the years and is so special, but she does this every Easter. She also does a bunch of headshots, but Misty, we love you. Appreciate you so much. And I think one of the biggest things I've missed the last year is having you take my picture with incredible people. So anyway, take a picture and laugh and have fun. Jeff Crilly, Chris Cambria, I just can't thank them enough. That's Real News PR. And every morning, 365 days a year, Jeff does a column. He sends it out. They're called The Rundown. And he features 3 events and 3 people. And I can't tell you how many Success North Dallas members you've featured in that. And we so appreciate it. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate the use of your studios. And he's got an incredible studio, just all of the stuff that you've done for us. And we have a few people that aren't here today that help us out. Dean Lindsay, Melanie Murphy, she's got a new baby, and Anya Zagan. And then Andrew Reed finally fixed our sound. We've been messing with the sound at this country club. I can't tell you how many times, how many years, but thank you. That's all I can say. And Charlie Barr says to say thank you too. He says, I could never hear before you started coming. And then Lucinda Ruck, she runs our LinkedIn group, which is about just under 3,000 now. She's at home watching us. And she also said for me to tell you, if you have not liked our LinkedIn company page, that she's going to come get you. So every one of you go and like our LinkedIn company page today. And then Kathy Clatterbaugh, she blows this thing up on Twitter every month. And speaking of social media, you got some hashtags up here. Tell people where you are. Tell them you're having fun and tell them that they should be here. And then when we talk about social media, I can't help but talk about Jeff Crilly and all the things he's done. If you haven't been to his studios, please go by and see him. He might even buy you lunch because he serves lunch every day. So if you're hungry and in Lincoln Center 1, just go by and see Jeff. So those are some great things. And then I have to quote I'm not much for quoting the Dallas Morning News, but I did find one decent article in it. And it was about the new police chief and his restructuring. And one of our dear friends, Jesse Reyes, Jesse, stand up, Dallas Police Department. Uh, He's been promoted to Assistant Deputy Chief, and he's over all the patrol divisions. So if you get a ticket, that's one of his people. So just call Jesse. I've never called him, have I, about that, about a bunch of other stuff. And I'd like for the two gentlemen, please introduce yourselves from the Dallas Police Department.
Gerald Smalley, I'm Lieutenant Commander of the Vice Unit.
There's not enough ways that I can possibly thank you people and for all you do, for keeping us safe, allowing us to have the meetings like this and the joy that you bring to my heart. In June will be our 20th year of presenting the Dallas Police Officer of the Year Award. And I truly, ladies and gentlemen, it's a study in humility. Put that on your calendar, the third Wednesday of June, because we'd love to have each and every one of you, especially here at this meeting. In the news, if you saw the temperature scanner out there, that is a gift to Success North Dallas from a little company called Work Innovators. Essie, where are you? Did she have to leave? There she, stand up. And Work Innovators, they do office solutions, business solutions, certified women-owned business, which we kind of love, and one of our partner members. So what a gift. Thank you very much. So we'll be taking your temperature all the time. But thank you. So many interesting things happen at this meeting. Casey, you have a new podcast. What is the name of it?
So it's the We Are VIP podcast. It's hosted by VIP. We get to record with Jeff Curley. So it's not a new podcast still. It's been
How many, is it up to 100 yet?
100 episodes.
Almost 100?
Almost at our second year anniversary. So, and we love Jeff Curley. He's just been amazing. So.
All right, this isn't Jeff Curley Day. We talked enough about Jeff Curley.
We just had a really great episode on Monday.
Awesome. And I was honored to be one of her first guests. And I need to mention, this is off script before we go to the happy hours, single parent advocate. Stand up, Stacy. 11 years ago, 11 years ago, I was her first board chairman. And it's still going strong. And Saturday at 1 o'clock, Louisville Chamber, is that right? They're having an event. It's a thank you event for everybody that have helped them. So she will be down here by the American flag afterwards. If you want more information on single parent advocate, it's time well spent. It's a great thing. Thank you, Stacy. Appreciate you. Lincoln Experience, Success North Dallas Happy Hour, Mike Rochelle, Cloud X. We'll be doing that next month, it looks like. We also have happy hours scheduled at Bavette Grill, and that's the new restaurant in Granite Park that's owned by the people that own Estelio Gaucho Steakhouse, EG Steakhouse. And I've dined there 3 times. It is great. It is good. And we will be having a happy hour at the Virgin Hotel. So if you're not on a mailing list, you won't know what we're doing. So make sure you sign up. And then Volunteers of America, they sponsor an LPGA tournament. And you know, the hardest ticket at a professional golf tournament is to play in the Pro-Am. We have 4 spots at the Pro-Am. They're $3,000 a piece. We're not making any money off of it. That's their advance price, but they've given us 4 spots. If somebody wants to play in the Pro-Am, see me, it's $3,000. And those will be available probably for the next month, maybe less. And this is June 30th, June 30th. And as you can see up there, and they called us. I was amazed. I said, certainly. So I'm excited about this, but let me know if you're interested in those. And the name tags, we do not have name tags. We didn't want you crawling all over each other trying to find your name tag. That can get rather cumbersome. And so we'll probably go back to name tags either next month or the month after. We're just going to play this by ear and make sure it works for everybody. And then Jan, what about our young executives?
Our young executives, want to welcome them. Success North Dallas Young Executives have started their organization about a year ago, I think it was, Bill. And this group has done a fantastic job pulling together young executives together because they're going to be our future because Bill's getting older. And so we need.
Excuse me?
Yes, Bill.
Andrew, would you turn off his mic?
And the young executives have done a great job, and they're pulling together young people and getting amongst themselves, and they're patterning themselves after what Bill started, trying to bring together enough people to introduce other people to other people, and this is in the young group. So they're there. We've got special pricing for the membership of $245 for the first year. So if you know any young executives in your own organization, please encourage them to reach out to the board. We've got board members up here. This is a new board. Shelby is Blevins is our new president. Kirsten, who is my co-pilot today, handling all the Zoom conference. And the rest of them are up there. They're running the organization. And they've got lunch and learns. And I want to bring up the vice president of operations. When you're old, you have a memory. Grace Spees. Grace is going to tell you a little bit about the lunch and learn and a little bit about the organization.
She has 90 seconds. Oh. Jan, talk to you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Jan. Yes, on behalf of the Success North Dallas Young Executives, first of all, Mr. Bill, we just want to say thank you for your support and encouragement. And also we've spent the last year developing a very robust program for our young executives. So we do have our lunch and learn. It will be tomorrow at lunchtime. There's a little hint in there. And we're going to do a diversity and inclusion conversation. So that's going to be great. We are going to resume our happy hours soon as well. And we have sponsorships available. If you have young executives that you would like to plug into our program, obviously they get the full Success North Dallas experience as well. So it's really the best package that you can get as a young professional in networking. And many of you have been waiting for this. We have officially launched our mentoring program. So there's a jot form up. I don't know exactly where that is. That's the IT guy's specialty. I'm just the face and the voice.
Should be on the website. If it's not, it will be there.
There you go. So there's a jot form to fill out. We do ask that, I think many of this room are in the mentor category. So, it's just an opportunity for you to contribute and to help our generation and the future leaders of America to grow. So we thank you in advance as we learn to navigate this program together. For those of you who are young executives in the room or on Zoom, we'd be happy to plug you in with a mentor. So please sign up and we'll get that rolling as soon as possible. Thank you, Mr. Bill.
This young executive happens to be the executive director of the Farmers Branch Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
Proud of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Grace.
Thank you so much. It's virtual. You have to buy your own lunch this time. You don't get a free lunch, Phil. I want to thank our partner members very briefly. Those are the ones that when we turned 25 came alongside of us financially so we can keep the dues down at $345, so we can do the things that we do, so we can do the ancillary programs that we do. But anyone that's a partner member in the room today, please stand up. I include you. Jeff Crilly, Real News PR. Neil Medwood, Miraplex. Phil Barnett, the first one that believed in this. And Phil, I thank you so very much. And then Essie at the back, Work Innovators. Thank you all so much for coming alongside of us financially. These are the people you need to thank. These are the people that keep the dues down and do great things. And the ones that are out there on Zoom, Chris Hill, Pinnacle Graphics, Baker Tilly, Barbara Oldham and Stephanie Curtis, Texas Legends. Malcolm was going to try to get here this morning. Fox Rothschild, Clint David. I'm ISSA Charities, Debbie Sardone, Debbie McAdams. An interesting note about them, excuse me, they're out to clean the homes of 1 million cancer patients for free. It's the largest global organization of cleaning companies. They have 1,500 members. And then Cleaning for a Reason is the Dallas group. So look that up. Bienestar, Mia Med Spa, Marie Diaz and Denise Nolan. Acuity Systems, Tom Neeson. City Central, Mark Berg called me and last night said, I've got to dog sit tomorrow morning. Now, you got to give him a problem with that, give him a hard time that he stayed home to dog sit instead of being here with us. RP1 did our website, of course, and now CFO. So I thank all of these people. And every month, I try to find a quote that's depictive of both the times and of the speaker. And the quote I found this time, and to me, it's quite meaningful. You have not lived today until you've done something for someone who can never repay you. John Bunyan. You have not lived today until you've done something for someone that can never repay you. And if that doesn't describe our speaker, I don't know what does. She's an author. She's a businesswoman. She holds a BA with honors from Harvard, an MBA from George Washington University. Misty Perdue, she's past president of a 40,000 member organization, American Agro Women. She's a former syndicated columnist with Scripps Howard, and her column, The Environment and You, and a television series, The Country Magazine. She founded Crest Farms, 1974, now a second generation family-owned business. She combines her experience of 3 longtime family businesses. Her father, Ernest Henderson, was president and co-founder of Sheraton Hotels, the hotel chain. Her late husband, Frank Perdue, second generation in the poultry business, Perdue Chicken, and today operates in more than 50 countries. And she loves to point out that the Henderson family business began in 1840. 1840, as the Henderson Estate Companies. They've been having yearly family reunions since 1890. Unbelievable. And if you combine the 180 years since it began and the 100 years of Perdue Farms and the 46 years of Crest Farms, it represents more than 3 centuries of family business. 3 centuries. And she likes nothing better than to share those secrets, how they made it 3 centuries, what they've done, and why they've done it. So ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome from New York City, who flew in to see you, Misty Perdue. Misty. Are you going to use this?
Actually, do I have a choice?
You do.
Because I kind of like to have the mic, but I know that I'm plugged in here. Andrew, I think I'll go with the mic.
Done. You can throw it at Pete. She said she's going to throw the mic at you if you don't listen.
Okay,
And
so
I have to,
can I wander around with this?
Sure. And I have to comment on her dress. Look at this. She said, I'm in Texas. I'm dressed in Texas.
Thank you, everybody. But since you were kind enough to comment on my outfit, I want to share with you that there is a lady here, Andrea Womble from EarthX, who picked it out for me. I can't believe it. There is a woman sitting right there who we were in a store, and I wouldn't have picked this because I wouldn't have even known that I liked it so much, but it's now my arch favorite. Thank you. But she isn't the only person that I have some thanks for. Let's start with Bill. I'm just so grateful that you included me here because the premise of Success North Dallas, how about that's just one of the things that I care a lot about because my wish for everybody is that they could be all they can be. And that, I think, kind of boils down to success. I have a definition of success. My own definition, I mean, I made it up, but it's that success is measured not by what you can get, but by what you can give. And the people that I've met here today, what examples of givers? Let's start with Ellen and your career in the past with the military and your career now in helping people. Or how about Was it Stacy who was the person who advocates for women and single parents is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, or let's see, Frank, or is it Jess? I never quite heard your name. But if you're in law enforcement, boy, protecting and serving, nobody else here could have success if it weren't for the safety that you guys provide for us. And would you say your name again? Gerald. Okay, so Gerald and Frank, and did I get Jess right? I mean, everybody that I met and every person that Bill mentioned, you're givers. I love that. That, success is measured not by what you can get, but by what you can give. Well, what I want to give to you is some success secrets. And I want to share with you some ideas that I have picked up over the years from watching how my late father, Ernest Henderson, co-founder of the Sheraton hotel chain, I want to share with you some of the tips of what he did. And I do this with the deep hope that this can be useful to you, because, again, my hope is things that he did that created from no employees to 20,000 at the time of his death. They're things, well, I'll tell you what the overarching thing is, what he did to create employee engagement. And after that, I'll be talking with you about how my late husband did almost the same thing. He started with no employees in the chicken industry, and by the time of his death, he also employed 20,000. Well, how did he do it? I'm fortunate because, as a little girl, I found a wonderful way of getting parental attention. And it's the following. I had 5 siblings, or there were 5 of us. So, if I wanted to get parental attention, I discovered really young that it was just a perfect way of getting Daddy to pay attention to me, to ask him questions about how he did it. And it was clear as possible to me that, this was our summer cottage. I knew that he was a success. So I was forever asking him how he did it. And he had many answers, but here's one that I'll share with you. He told me that when he'd take over a hotel, and he began during the Great Depression, which was a little bit like COVID-19 almost, where the financial strains were extraordinary. When he started his company in roughly 1933, that was a period when unemployment was 25%. But then on top of that, so rough times, but then on top of that, if you happen to be in the hotel business, that was pretty much known to be a fast one-way ticket to bankruptcy. So what was he doing buying hotels when everybody else was failing? Well, he told me that whenever he'd take over a hotel, which he could get very cheaply because nobody was buying hotels, he didn't have anybody bidding against him. But again, going into an industry that was just failing as fast as an industry could fail, how could he make it a success? And that's what I will be sharing with you now. He told me that whenever he took over a hotel, the first thing he did the day he got possession of the hotel, he would invite all the employees at the hotel to come into the ballroom and he would address them. But Father knew that every single person, trudging into that hotel ballroom was afraid that this would be their last day of work. And when there's 25% unemployment, you're not going to get a job. And can you imagine how demoralized you are when somebody's taken over the hotel and you're going to assume that he's going to, clean house, bring in new people, maybe take care of his uncles, nephews, cousins. So Father knew that they weren't going to listen to a single word he said if they're just so consumed with their pain and fear. So what did he do? He told me that the first words out of his mouth when he's addressing his new employees were, I want every one of you to stay in your job. I want you to keep your job, and I have a reason for it. And my reason for it is I know that you know your job better than anybody else in the world, And my job is to give you the resources and the support to show the world just how good you are. Because you will see, in the next few months, this hotel, which has been teetering on the edge of bankruptcy. By the way, Andrew, how much can I wander around without getting feedback? Oh, so I can go to the handsome police guys. Actually, this isn't particularly relevant to you, but you are handsome, so here I am. Okay, so I was saying about how he's addressing the people, and he didn't end with, I want you to keep your job and I want to support you and let you show the world just how good you are. He said, you'll see in a couple of months, this is going to be the most popular, the most financially sound hotel in the city. And better than that, we're going to be an inspiration to everybody else, because tough as times are, we can be an example to show that things are turning around, and you're part of the team that's going to do that. Well, imagine how the employees felt. They're coming into the ballroom just, ready for pretty much the end of the world. And they walk out because they have the feeling now that, their boss believes in them. And Father told me that people have a compulsion to live up to or down to your expectations. And so he's delivering to them expectations. But he also told me that words alone weren't enough. And so he took the next step. The next step is, I love your smile, Andrew, but that's not the next step. The next step is, the next day, the employees would see just cavalcades of decorators and plumbers and electricians, and they're coming in to refurbish the hotel, because if the hotel has been going bankrupt, you've got to invest some money into sprucing it up. But he said the employees would always see that the first place that these people who are sprucing up the hotel would come to wouldn't be the areas that the public would see. No, it would be like the employee dining rooms, the employee showers, the employee lockers. And so I'm asking my father, when he's telling me about that, why wouldn't you spend your first money on the areas where you could get some money back, where the public would see? And he said something that I invite you all to remember. He said, a leader's job is to give people a better vision of themselves. And one of the ways of accomplishing that is showing how important they are to management. Well, then we come to another part. There's a third part to this, which I asked my father. The first part was he tells them that they're going to keep their job. The second part was making them feel important by spending the first money that he ever did on any hotel he ever took over, was in sprucing up the areas that the public wouldn't see. But the third part was, I asked my father, why did you just kind of give it away, telling people that they could keep their jobs? Why not make them earn it? And he had an answer that in his world, there were 3 ways of getting people to do what you want, to get compliance. And he said, number 1 is, well, first, people live up to or down to your expectations. But number 1 is intimidation.
Oh boy, it's going to be one of those days.
I can make it worse, I promise. I'm good at this.
Alan.
Yes, meet Alan. Oh my gosh, it's you.
Yes.
What a surprise. Okay, so he said, number 1, he had 3 ways of getting people to raise their game. He said, number 1 is he could have stood up there in front of everybody and said, shape up or you're fired. That's intimidation. He recommended against intimidation because he said, you can get people to do what you want, but the problem is they'll do it grudgingly. They'll do the least amount they can do to get by. They'll sabotage when they can get away with it. Intimidate. You still love me anyway, don't you? Okay, because we're going to put somebody else to the test in a moment. Okay, so intimidation, he's against intimidation as a way of getting people to do what he wanted. Okay, so the next one is bribery. I sense some applause coming, don't hold back.
Yes.
Okay,
I
so
I need your dues, so I will bribe you with your dues. Just a minute.
I had such fun doing that. Okay, what did Father mean by bribery? He said that he could have stood up there that first day and told everybody, yeah, of course you can keep your job, but if you want a raise, if you want a bonus, you got to really shape up and do everything that I want. He said, what's wrong with bribery? Sorry. What's wrong with bribery is people will work for the bribe. And then people don't stay bribed, so you have to keep upping the ante. So he thought that intimidation and bribery just weren't a good approach to getting people to do what you want. So what should you do? And this again is my father speaking. Inspiration. Father, and I wish he were here today. That's Mr. West or Colonel West. He said that, you know, I already mentioned a leader's job is to give people a better vision of themselves, but he also felt that inspire, don't require. And for the inspiration, you know, he took me back to the speech he'd give to whenever he'd buy a new hotel. He said he wanted the people like a maid who's making beds, or like, for example, I don't know, a bartender or somebody carrying your suitcase. He wanted them to feel that their job wasn't making beds or carrying suitcases or tending bar. No, their job was that they're part of a team that's making this the best hotel in the city, an inspiration for people in dark times. And so when you inspire rather than require, that's almost the secret to getting people to go the extra mile, to stay with you for life. Or as in modern times, would call that employee engagement. And so, to repeat, he was very big on inspiration rather than requiring. And he also said a leader's job is to give people a better vision of themselves. And look how far it took him from a failing industry to one that where he became a leader in it. By the way, we did sell the company on his death, but we have stayed together as a family, and we've invested, you know, in other things. Let me move on now to Frank Perdue. And I need a time check. Somebody give me a time check, what time it is? I only have 20 minutes. I love you all so much. I want to spend hours with you.
Well, perhaps you could be on the Jeff Curley show at his studios today at 10:30.
Okay, but then I have to tell you something about Jeff Curley. I proposed marriage to him earlier today, and I learned that he's married. Well, since I want to get to talk about human trafficking, I will go through some of the things that made Frank Perdue a success. And these aren't long stories, but they are things that I think that you all could maybe benefit from hearing how this guy did it. Because as I mentioned, he went from no employees to 20,000 at the time of his death. I mean, 20,000, you're not going to get that many people working with you if they don't care, because he was famous in the same way that my father was. If you started working with him, you pretty much stayed with him for life, and you made a habit of going the extra mile. And here are some of the things that he did. Now, this is a question of do as I say, not as I do. He was gifted at learning people's names. We could go into a factory or a processing plant, and there were like 18 of them. And typically they'd have 1,000 people in them. And I had this huge privilege of getting to tag along with him. And the number of names he knew, it was staggering. I think it's a reasonable guess that he knew 5, 8, 10,000 names. I mean, when we were going through a plant, I always felt that he had the attitude of, yeah, we're a team and we're a family. And he didn't walk through the plant like this. No, it was just visiting with people, and he'd tell me, Mitzi, I'd like you to meet Maisie. Maisie has her son just got into college. Or meet Antonio. Antonio's had 30 years with no sick days. I mean, the number of names, and imagine what it must feel like to an employee to have the big boss whose name is on your check to know your name. I mean, good Lord. Other things that he did. He would make a huge point on a Saturday afternoon when everybody else is out, I don't know, doing errands or watching the game or whatever. This is what we did practically every Saturday. He would get a list of Purdue associates, and that's like Purdue employees, but in Purdue speak, it's associates. He would get a list of the associates, and when you have 20,000 people, you know, there will be people who are ill. Maybe there are 5 or 10 people. We would go visit them in the hospital. And, you know, again, what must it mean to an employee? Maybe it's a trucker, maybe it's a sanitation worker, maybe it's a veterinarian, but everybody, if you were sick, you were in the hospital, you're going to get a visit from Frank Purdue, which I thought was just awesome. He also, you know, he knew that as the big boss, when he attended a wedding or a funeral, you know, his taking the time just symbolized real caring. And then something else, which I don't think I put on my list, but if there was time left over from visiting the ill in the hospitals, we'd visit retired people. And we did this over and over again. And, you know, he'd reminisce with them about the early days. And I loved the message that sent, that you're not just, you know, a cog in a wheel producing a product. No, you're somebody that Frank Purdue really cares about. I thought it was awesome. Something else that he did, he was amazing, at least in my experience, and he's doing what I'm about to describe, this is aspirational for me because I don't think I can achieve it, but here's what I got to watch and what I recommend to all of you, and that is, he would listen 90% of the time and talk 10% of the time. In almost any situation, whether it was, like a cocktail party, or talking with a cab driver, or in a business meeting, he made a point of listening. And when he'd listen, and even though you rejected my marriage proposal, I'm going to pretend for a moment that you're Frank Purdue. You were the most important person in his world at that moment. And he wasn't busy thinking of what he was going to answer. No, he'd listen to what you had to say and then respond to it, which I think makes people feel 10 feet tall. I mean, to be really listened to matters. Another thing that he did was, and I used to notice that in business meetings, you know, he's the person whose name appears on your check in a business meeting. And it would have been so easy for him, and this I do believe is something that's copyable. He had the attitude that if there's a business meeting, that there's a lot of wisdom in this room, and that his job was to tap into it. He could have, if he acted like the normal alpha male in his position, you know, really taking up space and being important, it would kind of choke off some of the interaction. I used to notice this with, you know, kind of jaw-dropping amazement. Frank Purdue, in a situation where he wanted to draw everybody else out, he'd have almost a shy, his persona would change from the alpha male to, you know, kind of a somewhat shy member of the team. And I think that did an amazing amount for him to achieve his objective, which is partly to make other people feel important, but most of all to get information. So I used to notice that, and I don't think he even knew he was doing this. I think it was subconscious. I don't know, I never asked him, but he didn't use up all the oxygen when he was in a meeting. And then another thing that I just admired no end, I wrote a book on him. I interviewed 143 different people for this book. And one of the stories that kept coming out, and you know, a lot of the people that I talked with was, if you were in a meeting with Frank, you didn't know what his preferred outcome was. I mean, he might have something that he wished, but he also felt that if everybody else was turning into a pretzel to try to feed him what they thought he wanted, that he wasn't going to tap into the wisdom in the room. And this is a phrase that he used, and it's not unique to him, but I know it was on his mind because he'd say it. None of us is as smart as all of us. And so his wisdom in not letting people know what answer he wanted. And I also am very aware that he would change his mind. Somebody give me a time check again. Something else that he did that I just cherished. He had no use for yes men. If somebody was telling him yes all the time, I think that person in his mind would diminish. The person who argued with him most often was a guy named Don Mabe. And I heard a story for the book that I wrote. A guy, we'll call him Peter Smith, not his real name, but he told me that something like 30 years ago when he first joined the company, he thought, oh my God, I'm joining the company just at the moment that it's falling apart. Because he said he witnessed there were like 10 people from the sales department, and Frank was, 9 from the sales department plus Frank Purdue, now at this conference table. And at one end was Frank Purdue. On the other hand was a person who had started out in the lowest rungs of working for Purdue. He was like a flock serviceman, which, trust me, that's low. But he had made his way up to being fairly important in the sales department. So here we are, there's this conference table. At one end, Frank, and the other, 4 people, and then Don Mabe. Well, Peter Smith, who was one of these people on the side, was telling me that Don Mabe and Frank Purdue were arguing with a fury that was just, Peter Smith told me, I don't think a company can survive this kind of venom and vitriol. They were furious at each other. And at one point, Don Mabe pulled off his glasses, threw them down on the conference table. They bounced once and hit Frank Purdue square in the chest. And while the glasses, are flying through the air, Don Mabe is telling Frank, in a really angry voice, why don't you take up hang gliding? A very dangerous sport. And so Peter Smith is saying, you can't recover from dissension that big. He was wrong, because he said, well, at the end of the meeting, Don Mabe and Frank walked out just laughing and having a good time. And the person that Frank Purdue chose to secede him, whatever the word is, to come after him, he appointed him president and CEO when Frank moved on to be chairman of the board. Don Mabe, the person who had argued with him for probably 32 years in the most furious manner possible, Frank respected that. And I think that was part of his success was, it's good to get information. It's good to encourage people who aren't yes men. But also, if somebody really respects, I'm talking about Frank now, when Frank really respects your dissident opinions, boy, I think that gives you much more intense employee engagement. Well, let's. Would Jan not let you look at it? I had so much fun. Okay, everything that I've been talking about with my late father or my late husband was ways that they managed to get people to stay with them for life and make a habit of going the extra mile. So what's the payoff for this? What's the payoff for engaged workers? And to my surprise, there is an organization that has actually quantified this. It's the Gallup organization. For something like 15 years, they've been interviewing people, businesses, and employees throughout the world. I think it's like 190 different countries where they ask people about engagement. And here's what they found. And this is taken directly from Gallup publications. Engaged workers stay twice as long in their jobs. Oh, let me define that a little bit more. They had a scale of 1 to 5, where 5 is the most engaged and 1 is the least engaged. So the most engaged, category 5 versus category 1. stay twice as long in their jobs, take 10 times less sick leave, create the most new customers, are 31% more productive. So the advantages, I mean, I think the secret of both my father's success and my late husband's success was they were 100% gifted at figuring out how to get their employees as engaged as possible. And to kind of summarize, how did they do it? They made people feel important, they made people valued, they made people feel that they're part of something bigger than themselves. And the payoffs was something that I wish for all of you, and thank you. Thanks, guys. Thanks, gals. Okay, question period. And remind me how much time we've got left for questions? 10 minutes? Okay, well, I have. Okay, well, as you've seen, I'll answer anything you like. It can be personal, professional, business, whatever. However, I'll love you if you ask me about my anti-trafficking efforts.
Can you tell us about your anti-trafficking?
Jeff, how neat of you to ask that. How many of you feel quite familiar with human trafficking? Okay, human trafficking it's how I expect to spend the rest of my life is combating this, because I do think it's got to be one of the worst evils on the face of the earth. With human trafficking, first of all, it's $150 billion a year industry. There are 40 million people who are trafficked, and that's more than the population of Canada, and it's about the population of California. 8 million of them are sex trafficked, and 1 million of them are child sex trafficking victims. Well, what's it like, just to bring it to, like, instead of just giant statistics, what's it like for a little girl who's trafficked? And I'm giving you averages, but there are a lot of people who agree in these figures, that the average girl who gets into trafficking, or the average child, is going to start at age 12 to 14. Her life expectancy is 7 years. She's unlikely to live longer than that. And what's going to take her is suicide, overdose, disease, or murder for her organs. And frankly, I mean, this is almost too horrible to believe, but organ harvesting is a real thing. So if this is so terrible, what can we do about it? And this is the rest of my talk. What we can do about it. By the way, in a moment, I'm going to ask you to take out your cell phones and text 55312 and text WIN. But the good news, and it's fairly recent, is, tell me again how much time I have so that right now, I want to know if I can tell a story that's. Okay. I had the extraordinary privilege in January of addressing a group called the International Fraud Group. And the International Fraud Group had told me a story that applies, it's a sort of a template of a new way of attacking human trafficking. And to tell you the story about human trafficking and what the International Fraud Group did with a very large, and I'm not supposed to say the name in public, but you might be able to guess it, one of the largest software manufacturers. I bet we're guessing it, but I'm not. But I didn't say it. Okay, with this software company, 15 years or so ago, maybe 20 years, they had a terrible problem with pirating, with people counterfeiting their programs. And they kept finding out that, you can put people in jail for pirating, but it's so profitable that somebody else will immediately take their place. And they were just not getting anywhere until a member of the International Fraud Group thought, or actually told the software manufacturer, you're going about it wrong. Let's go after what really motivates the pirates, the software counterfeiters. What really motivates them is money. Let's go after their bank accounts. And with money laundering, if you can prove that, say you've got $1 million in an account somewhere, you can prove that it's laundered, the bank has every incentive in the world to freeze it and maybe return it to the software company, because here they face a reputational threat. They face fines. They may even be put out of business. So by attacking the profits of the pirates, they effectively saved the software company from piracy. I mean, if you take away the profits, why bother? And effectively, they ended piracy for this software company. Well, I asked, could something like this be done with human trafficking? And the answer is it would take an awful lot of fine tuning, but going after their finances rather than just trying to put traffickers in jail could have a huge impact, because, you know, in the software company, there were tens of millions of dollars at stake. There's $150 billion at stake in human trafficking. And I think it's very well established that the traffickers are doing it for the money. Well, what if we could, using the most high-tech skills that we have today, you know, dark web, big data, there are tools that can be used to combat trafficking by going after their profits. And it's complicated, because I've been told by people who are experts in this that you know, you can hire somebody who's making $250,000 to go trace money flows and find bank accounts. You can do that, but unfortunately, the people who are making the $150 billion, they can hire somebody for $2 million to outsmart your $250,000 guy. So it's, and they can arrange for the trail to go cold. You know, somebody who might give information that's important ends up killing himself or being suicided. So they say, yeah, this is not a straightforward thing that you can just make happen. But they say that, you know, so you're not going to get 100% success, but even a small success, and actually they're expecting big successes, that there will be people who are suffering who can be saved, or people who won't suffer to begin with, if you can make trafficking less profitable. And the reason I asked you to get out your cell phones is because I would love everybody here to join a virtual meeting on May 11th at I guess it's 11 o'clock Dallas time. The Fulbright Association has agreed to put on a forum that will unveil this new approach. And one of the largest anti-trafficking organizations in the world, it's Polaris, is going to be one of the presenters. And then people with expertise, and I get to moderate it, yay! Well, I'm the one who suggested it to Fulbright, so come on May 11th and hear some true experts who can go into fabulous detail about how this would work and how it could make an almost unprecedented dent in preventing trafficking to begin with. And I'd love to have you join. And that was a somewhat long answer, but 55312. And then the key word is win, which the organization that I'm part of is Win This Fight. So it's just the first words of Win This Fight. So 55312, and it should take you to a link that will take you to another link where you can sign up.
Any other questions? Ladies and gentlemen, let's speak for them. Come here. Oh, this is what I love about this job. People like you, and what an honor.
Oh, yes.
There it is, right there. 55312. Don't go away yet. You have one last thing to do. Please introduce your son.
Oh, meet Francisco de Borja Jose Ayala Paredes San Vicente Lopez Henderson. Otherwise known as Zay, and he lives here in Dallas. And he told me that he just couldn't understand. Well, first of all, he's Dallas by choice, not chance, but he couldn't understand why it took him so long to discover the best place in the world to live.
So is your mother, you're going to get your mother to move down here now?
That's the plan.
That's the gauntlet has been laid down. Please.
Oh, because that may be one that we're already working with. Let me just, the organization that I'm part of, we raise funds and awareness for other organizations, and we've got some really neat ways of doing it. And I wish I had 5 hours with you.
She wants to take our picture. Hold the mic. Yay. I want to thank you. I want to give you a gift. And that is a book, The Nature of Excellence, by Lee and Julie Cohen. And this book was first given to me by Colleen Barrett, COO of Southwest Airlines, when she retired. And it's what she gave to the entire board of directors at Southwest. And it's very precious. I love the book. And inside of the book for you and your son is dinner for two at McGuire's. Wow. Oh, that got his attention. So anyway, thank you so much. I met her through Clint Haggard when he had her fly in to speak out at the Haggard Barn family office. Then again, I met her and we had dinner in New York City. And I met her again in New York City. And I said, we can't keep meeting like this. You have to come to Dallas.
No, they're going to talk.
Hey, I'm single. Whoa! Another rumor just started.
Well, okay, it's time for me to tell the truth about us.
Oh. Shh. Anyway, moving right along. You can sit down now. I've got the greatest job in the world. I get to put two people together, take a step back and watch the magic happen. And the magic I've seen here this morning has just, I love it. I can't say enough about it. I can't.
Hey, Bill,
What?
don't say any more about it. We have another, since you're giving away things, we have someone else who wants to give an award. And Ellen Houlihan has something special for you, Bill, that you would like to
Is it
present.
my St. Patty's Day? No. What is it?
I have a little presentation. Good morning. I'm Ellen Houlihan, and I know you're probably thinking it's St. Patrick's Day. There's a Houlihan standing in front of you. She might have a leprechaun in her pocket. Well, in fact, I don't. March is also Women's History Month, and I wanted to take time to recognize and acknowledge Bill's efforts, continued efforts, to help us all make history and to make a difference in our community. I'm a West Point graduate and an Army veteran. And the Army has lots of great traditions. One of them is a challenge coin. And a challenge coin is given by an organization or unit to a person who makes a difference, makes a continued and compelling difference. So today, Bill, I'm presenting you with the West Point Women's Coin. It was designed by West Point women graduates, and it depicts, for you coin collectors, on the obverse, Pallas Athena, the goddess of wisdom, who sits atop the West Point Library. And on the reverse is the Academy crest with the inscription, Leaders for Our Army and Nation, since 1976. And it's my great honor to present you this bill as a way to say thank you and as a way to recognize your continued efforts to help us all make history. Thank you so much.
Wow. You know, I've been a huge, when we started Success North Dallas, we made it 30% women. And that was in 88. And I was told I was an idiot. I was just told I was a fool. I was told it would never work. And when we did our 25th anniversary, the only luncheon we've ever done, Cambridge Hotels paid for the whole thing. We had, excuse me, we had Ross Perot Senior welcome, Boone Pickens hosted. We had 4 major CEOs, Fluor, USAA, BNSF, 7-Eleven. We honored Nancy Lieberman. And I understood what my mentor, Herb Kelleher, meant when he said, you know, I gave him hot pants and booze when he started Southwest Airlines. And he said, you give them women and networking. The room had 440 people in it, and it was 50% women. I then understood what he really meant. Ellen, this is an honor. Is this, how many of these are out? This is, I'm honored. Thank you so very, very much. No, that goes in my pocket. It's not going to sit anywhere, but thank you. Thank you, Jan. Again, we have to have a talk. Upcoming meetings. Wow. Upcoming meetings. April 21st. Kent Billingsley, please stand up. This is one of the best books I've ever read. Wait till he speaks to clap for him. Why, please. But The Entrepreneur to Millionaire. This is a room of entrepreneurs. This book is incredible. I met him many years ago, but then I heard him speak at C-Suite's Lone Star Council, which has a meeting coming up, which we'll talk about in a moment. But be here on the 21st and bring any entrepreneur, any business owner, anyone that wants to understand what they've really been doing through a different set of eyes. It's a beautiful, fantastic book. And then coming up after that, May 19th, Commander Guy Snodgrass, retired Top Gun's Top 10. It's Top Gun pilot, Top Gun instructor. It's another great book. But Top Gun's Top 10 Leadership Lessons from the Cockpit. And then June the 16th, we have a very special meeting. We're going to present the Prestonwood Employee of the Year, and we're going to present several Dallas Police Officer of the Month awards. Because of COVID, we haven't been able to do it. And then we're going to present the Dallas Police Officer of the Year award. And last February was our last major meeting. During that meeting, Rolando Diaz painted a picture, a beautiful painting called Back the Blue. It now hangs at police headquarters. We're going to have a formal presentation of it later this year. Plaque will be presented to go with the painting. But June the 16th, that's one day after my birthday, June the 16th. So remember that. And we've got a heck of a year shaped up. We've got some great speakers coming. I think we only have 3 months left open this year. We have got a great time coming up. So bear that in mind. Then upcoming sponsored events. May the 18th, tomorrow at noon, you can check it on our website, is the Young Executives. It's tough, and it's an open discussion, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And it should be really great. They'll also have a drawing for a dinner for 2 from 12 Cuts, but you have to be present to win. That means you have to register. It is virtual. April the 2nd, Randy, what have we got coming up? Oh, we have to get Randy on the.
Bill, thank you. Can you hear me?
Perfectly.
Okay, Bill, thank you very much. And Jan, April 2nd begins our 24th year of the First Friday Book Synopsis. We have presented 547 books. I am presenting the #1 bestseller on the New York Times list, How to Avoid a Climate Disaster by Bill Gates. And then I'm presenting 2030, How Today's Biggest Trends Will Collide and Reshape the Future of Everything. So 2 very good books. That will be April 2nd over Zoom. And thank you, Bill, for letting me announce this.
24 years, 2 books a month. I've read the books in advance several times. I get more from his presentation and the handout than I've gotten from reading the books. It's well done. It is one of the best returns on your time that you can find. It's excellent.
Thanks, Bill.
So I encourage each and every one of you to join us April the 2nd. April 6th and 7th, American Future Series, Space Innovation. They've got 43 generals coming to this. It is well worth the time. If you look at you can't really see the brochure that much, but the code to come free, and it'll be on our website. Jan will put it up today. The code to come free is capital AFS for American Future Series, SND, AFS SND, and that will get you in free. And they've just, Michelle has been our chief of staff, Michelle Pearson teamed up with David Hamilton, and they are kicking butt. They are doing a fabulous job, a fabulous job. Then April the 8th, Dan, come here, come on. This is Daniel Abroad, and I have the pleasure of mentoring him. And he is building something called the C-Suite Lone Star Council. We're a part of C-Suite. Misty's a part of C-Suite. Jeff, we're all part of the Hero Club. And so what are you doing with the C-Suite?
Oh, thanks. So April 8th is our open meeting for everyone. We've got actually a good lineup this time. We've got, as always, Rich Miller, who is a special agent for the FBI, is going to talk about cybersecurity for small business. He really focuses on single entrepreneur for those with employees. One of the things I saw him speak recently on was about, it doesn't matter if you have 1 computer or 1,000, there's something on that computer that is important to you. And if somebody gets that, they can hold it for ransom for you, take your money, take your livelihood. So we're going to start off with him speaking and bringing out the threats that we all face. And then we have 2 of our Lone Star Council members, both in IT, Eduardo Contreras down in Austin, and then Bob Kerr, which is up here in Dallas, talking about the solutions to help you get through all of that. And that's April 8th, and it's open to anyone that member or non-member.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for the job you're doing.
Thank you.
This has turned out well. And Essie and her Venture X is the home of the Lone Star Council. So Essie, thank you for that. Not only Work Innovators, but she has a company called Venture X out at Castle Hills at the Realm. And then Neil Medwood over here, if you need some cybersecurity help inside of this room, Neil's company, Mariplex, and he's one of our partner members, is also very much involved in that, in turnkey solutions for cybersecurity. So don't hesitate to reach out. And I mean, just there's great things happening here. We got several happy hours. We have a town hall coming up that we'll tell you more about later, but it'll be the gentleman that's responsible overall for the hotel industry. We'll be doing that in conjunction with C-Suite and all the matrix on COVID and on our meetings coming back and on us coming back together. So we'll be doing a town hall on that shortly. And other than that, it's been some tough times. Virtually, you're out there, you're here. We would encourage, if you choose to make a donation. If it's $20, $5, $30, $50, but we do things other than just these meetings. And so revenues have been down all over. And I know Randy in First Friday Book Synopsis does the same thing. But if you're so inclined, the number is 0 to whatever. Or if you really enjoyed it, join. $345 a year. That includes all 12 meetings, the Continental Buffet, best of the best in speakers. First time guests are always free. The place where meaningful relationships are built, the place where 101 companies were started, the place where 1,253 jobs were created, the place where 7 Ernst & Young Entrepreneurs of the Year were created. So I think it's the relational aspect of Success North Dallas. You know, the meetings are great, the topics, the information, but it's also the hallways that are great. That time that we have to interact with each other. So join us. Would love to have you as a member. You're here in this room. We don't advertise these meetings. The people that are here are brought here by someone that says, you're our kind of people. We're all equally yoked to each other. So being a success in your own eyes, honor your commitments and be a giver. And I'm going to very briefly, I know we're short on time. I'm going to ask any person who is new to Dallas, in transition, or looking for an internship to stand and briefly introduce yourself by name and your discipline only. And then come down by the Texas flag afterwards, because Stacy's going to be down here by the American flag about single parent advocate. But come down to the Texas flag, and anyone that has an idea for these people, please come down and visit with them afterwards, because it is, after all about our fellow men and women. So, ladies and gentlemen, you'll receive a video link this afternoon. I almost forgot that. And don't hesitate to share that, because what Misty's had to say, Misty, this has been fabulous. And Doctor, thank you for coming as well. And Misty will be around for some Q&A. She can either stand up here or you can singularly talk to her for about another 20 minutes. So with that being said, Kent Billingsley, what date? The third Wednesday of April, the third Wednesday of every month for the rest of this year. But come back to see Kent. I promise you a great return on your time. And may you do what you love to do with people you love to do it with on purpose. God bless and Godspeed. It's 8:59. By golly, we did it. Love you all. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Officers, thank you all. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Randy.
Jan, thank you for letting me do this. I always appreciate it very much.
So Randy, how many books a month do you actually read besides the two?
Well, I read a bunch of books a month, but I present 3 synopses every month. So I read those books incredibly carefully and prepare 10 to 12 page handouts, 2 business
My people
books,
out in Zoom land.
and 1 book on
I'm so glad you're here.
justice.
Mitchell, Sandra D, Larry, oh my God, Randy. Oh, hey, Debbie McAdams and Miss Jones. Oh, wow. Susan Younger, Shelley DeForest, geez. And these are not even the people that, you know, this is going out over Jeff Curley's network too. So, and Kathy, how are you doing, Kathy? Keep Kathy and keep Lucinda in your prayers, folks. Both of them have a health issue, so we need to love on them a lot. But thank you so much for being a part of this. I can't tell you how much it means to me. And I will see you all April the 21st. Bye.
See ya.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Bye, Bill. Thank you.
Randy, that's impressive.
Well, we've done this for 23 years. And so I've kind of developed a system, and I really have learned a lot. I mean, I learn more than anybody who comes to listen to me, because I basically read a book 3 times, once the book, and then once preparing the handout, and then once presenting the handout. So it's thanks for asking. Thanks for asking.
That's amazing. Yeah, when you teach, you always learn, but that's quite a few books a month. That's amazing.
Yeah. And I read more than that. Those are the ones I prepare to present. So
nice.
So what's the next ones? Because I have a stack, I think 1, 2, 3 stacks on my desk. So what's the next ones?
Well, I'm doing the Bill Gates book on climate on April 2nd, and a book on trends written by a Wharton professor called 2030. And tomorrow I am presenting the terrific book at Urban Engagement Book Club for City Square on racial issues by Michael Eric Dyson, called Long Time Coming. So I do 2 business books a month and 1 book on social justice issues every month. And then occasionally more for clients who order it. So thanks for asking.
Sure. So I saw that those 2 books you're referring to, the Bill Gates and the 2030. What's after that? Are you going to divulge, or is it we have to wait and see?
Well, you have to wait and see. Number one, I haven't finished reading them. But Bill Gates' book is the first key about that book is it's readable. It's readable. It's understandable. It's number one on the New York Times business bestsellers list for March. So it jumped right to number one. The other one is a typical but quite good. Here's what we think is going to be happening in the next decade by a Wharton professor. I like to do one of those every now and then, and this is a good one.
So I actually have another question for you. So I actually named my company after, my company's name is L5L Solutions, and L5L stands for Level 5 Leader.
Okay.
And I actually named that and got it out of the book called Good to Great from Jim Collins.
Sure.
Have you done a review on that one?
Oh yeah. My former colleague who was with me, he would do a book and I would do a book. He suffered a stroke a few years ago, but that's an older book, and he presented that one by Jim Collins, and I have presented Great by Choice by Jim Collins, which I think is really almost a better book than Good to Great. It's really interesting to look at books. You go back to Tom Peters and Jim Collins. In Good to Great, his exemplar companies included Circuit City. That didn't end up real well. So one of the things you learn is that what was great may have difficulty staying great, and that's a real challenge. But yeah, great book, and Jim Collins is a very good thinker.
So you reached out to me on LinkedIn, and I'll connect with you. And I'd be curious to get, if you still have it, the old review. I'd be curious to read that, because I'm reading. I just got sent. My friend Dr. Gerald Turner sent me your review of the Adam Grant book that you just did. So I read that. I'd be curious to read the one you did from the past.
Is your email on your contact info on LinkedIn?
I'll connect with you, and I'll give you the email.
Yeah, get me your email and I'll get those to you. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks.
Randy, if I could ask, are your book reviews available somewhere where we can read them, like online or something?
Yes, we record them audio, and you can purchase the audio and the handout. And the handout is quite comprehensive, 10 to 12 pages. And those are on our website. And if you'll give me just a minute, Larry, I'll put that link on the website, and I'll actually link to the newest editions that will show you the ones we've done the last few months. Generally, it takes about a month to upload the latest two, so we don't have March up yet. But I'll get that to you in just a second in the chat. So
that's great. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks for asking.
Oh, it sounds wonderful. Didn't realize you were doing that.
Yeah,
my first time, I think, attending a Dallas Success Dallas meeting. Very good.
Okay, Larry, I just put that up.
Okay, I see it. Thank you. That's great. Where are you located in Texas as well, Randy?
Yeah, in Dallas. And we of course met live until last April at a place called the Park City Club. And we'll at some point return to some kind of hybrid like Bill's this morning, where people will be able to come live and it will be on Zoom. So we'll work on that, but we're not ready. I don't want to do anything until 80% are vaccinated. I'm extra careful on that. So
yeah, makes sense. Great, thank you. Good meeting.
This is Sharon Knowles speaking. I attend Randy's reviews, both the Wednesday and the Friday. And one thing that I really appreciate is that he never reads he never reads reviews about the book before he reads the book himself. So it's like totally objective. You're just not going to get a better review.
Thank you, Sharon.
It's great, Sharon. Thank you. Very helpful.
Yeah.
Does your website also have the schedule for your meetings too?
The blog will always put up the next month. And so check the blog and scroll down. We used to have the next month on the homepage, but when we do it remotely, it's a different process. We don't have any registration. You can show up and we put the Zoom info on the blog. So, but Larry, if you go to the homepage, you can sign up for our email list. and that will send you the next month's books. And
Oh,
you'll
very
see a big box and say, sign up for the email list. I want to apologize to all of you. I don't want to turn this into a discussion of First Friday Book Synopsis, but thanks for your interest, Mitchell and Larry and Andrew and Sharon and all of you. Sharon, Susan Younger comes regularly, and Jan Klodner does. So thanks.
Oh, this is great. I'm looking at your site now. Thank you. Excellent.
So I have to jump off to another meeting, but it was great meeting you all. And I've seen some of your faces in the C-suite network, and I'm sure I'll see you again. And Randy, I'll see you at hopefully see you at your book reviews moving forward.
Love to have you. Thanks, Andrew.
Great, it's a pleasure meeting you all. Thank you very much, Susan. If you can hear me, have a good day, and I'll see you guys soon. Thanks.
Got to jump to a meeting as well.
Yeah,
Great to
I
see
do
you guys.
too. God bless
Hey,
you
guys, have
guys.
a great
Bye-bye.
day.
God bless.
I think I'm going to slip away too. Thanks, everybody. Good to see you. Thanks, Bill and Jan and everyone.
The stands are ours too.
I think